Yo, so guys, we're live again. We're gonna be doing another breakdown show with Fitz this week. We did the show on Monday, kind of just going over a little bit pre-tape what we thought, and now we're gonna give you more of a betting breakdown. So if you're here, you're gonna get access to some free bets and you're gonna get some good content. So glad you guys joined. But what's up, Fitz? How you doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm excited for this card. I mean, it feels like it's been a while since we had, since the last pay-per-view, since 303 that we had a big card like this, man. And I mean, I love the fights, just from a fan point of view. Some steep lines, but we can always find value. And I'm just excited, especially for the main card. It's a really sick main card if you look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the whole card is good. Like, this is one of the best pay-per-views or cards that they've had probably like since UFC 301, So definitely excited to get into this one. But I'll let you go first. First fight of the night. What is your thoughts on that fight? And you have like a bet on that fight or any solid leans?
Yeah, I think Shauna Bannon's gonna school her, kind of show her, what the UFC level is. Shauna's gonna be hungry for a win. Alice, I've watched some of her fights. She's very aggressive, and she looks tough, and she looks like she hits pretty hard. But I think Shauna's just overall, gonna have a lot more skills in there and a lot more tools. It's a basic pick, but I'd probably go Bannon by decision. Right around even money. If you want to be a little safer, I think just take the fight, go to a decision at minus 185. I think that's a pretty good line, for the type of fight it is. You never know with these lower level fights. Either one could get a submission or get a finish, but I think this fight will probably go 3 rounds.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna say I disagree because I don't have like a confident read in terms of I agree on the pick. I'm going with Bannon, but I do think there's potential for this fight to finish inside the distance just because Ardelean, she hasn't won to decision in a while, man. I guess like her or I guess maybe her last fight was the decision, but she's had a lot of fights where she got like quick first round finishes against like real low level competition and then she looks really weak on the ground. So I do think if Bannon could take her down, I mean, maybe there's like a sneaky value on that submission prop or her to win like by ground and pound TKO. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're like I just don't know how good Ardelean is. Like she could when Weili Zhang took her down, that was like almost 10 years ago, and it was obviously Weili Zhang, right? But like she finished her like 30 seconds after she took her down, she submitted it, right? So it looked like Ardelean was horrible on the ground. Like she had no idea what she was doing. So it's like, Bannon maybe could go in there and get the finish. So I just don't know what to think about Elise. I feel like she could just be like a total fraud. So
Yeah, I mean, if you look into the level of competition, it's atrocious, man. The girls
yeah.
she's beaten their record is like a combined 5-15, and the one girl she fought is 0-5 right now. Her most recent fight. That's who she's getting into
Yeah.
the UFC off of, beating a 0-3 now 0-5 opponent. So it's just it's really hard to tell, but I think Bannon's a pretty confident pick. You'd make some good points, and I think that's why the line is what it is, and maybe that's why I like it because I would expect it to be up in the minus 200s in a fight like
Yeah.
this. But if you dive into Alice's record, she really doesn't have too many decisions. But something tells me Bannon decision. But I think the submission too is a good idea, even though she doesn't have any. Bannon has never hit a submission. I'm sure it would be a cool thing for her to get her first submission. Um, Molly McCann comes to mind. In her last fight was really kind of almost looking for it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean this next fight, a little bit better fight. Michael Parkin or Mick Parkin taking on Lucas Bresky. I mean, this one, I think it's going to go to decision, honestly. So I don't hate that line, like minus 145. Bresky's hard to finish, but he's not a finisher either. Neither of these guys are like that athletic or explosive or powerful. So I just feel like it's probably going to go the distance, and I think Parkin has the better cardio. Bresky's going to be
I just feel like
maybe like able to do something in the first round and like win the first, but I think after that Parkin will kind of take over the fight. It's just I don't know if he's going to be able to finish him. I mean, what do you think? You think there's any value on Parkin winning inside the distance?
No, I much like the decision line. I think minus 145 is a good line. Um, I think, this line's way too light on Mick Parkin. I'm still going to pick him, but I think Bresky is going to make it a close fight. I think we both had Bresky, or I had Bresky with you in his last fight. So, I have some good feelings about him as an underdog. But I think Mick Parkin, especially fighting in the UK, is going to do enough to get the job done. But yeah, I think it'll definitely go to decision. I'd be pretty surprised to see a finish on either side. I think it'll be a slow paced fight. Mick Parkin on the feet really doesn't throw too much volume. And
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's going to implement the wrestling. Because I
Yeah,
mean
Bresky's
that's
tough.
an easy path to victory, but I mean I just don't think we've seen Mick Parkin use that before.
The one thing that's like throwing me off with like betting that is Bresky, like when he got knocked out like so easily versus Waldo, like because Waldo isn't like a big puncher, you know what
Puncher,
I mean?
yeah.
And he like knocked him out. It was a weird knockout the way he turned his back, if you remember, and then he like hit him in the back of the head and like knocked him out cold, like face planted him. So, but yeah, it's like Bresky usually in most of his fights he seems like fairly durable, but it's like maybe Parkin will just hit him once and he'll like go down like that, you know. So, but yeah, I don't think that line's that bad, you know, minus 145. I think there's decent price there, especially when you're looking at the is I don't know, is that correct though? Like what book is that? Minus 195 for over 2.5. Bet River. Yeah. I don't know that. I don't use that
I mean
book.
even FanDuel minus 186,
Yeah, so you're getting a decent little amount of money if you go for a fight goes to decision. But this next one, I do got a bet on this one for Sam Patterson versus Kiefer. I bet the under, and it's a lot wider now. When I bet it, it was like minus 145 or something like that. But and then I believe I bet Patterson to win inside the distance, and if I haven't, I got it like where I'm about to bet it. So I'm like 99% sure I bet it though. But yeah, like Sam Patterson, I just feel like he's way better everywhere. You know, Crosby, he has a chance early in the first round, I think, to catch him and knock him out. But I think after that, Patterson's gonna have smooth sailing. He's gonna have the potential to get a submission win as well. So I just think Patterson is gonna finish him. I think Crosby's gonna go hard for that finish early, like always. And he's not someone that's gonna be able to go further in the fight. He's gonna get tired and look for the way out. He's not like necessarily that toughest guy either when he's kind of on the way out. So I feel like it's going to go under as well. So that's kind of why I like both of those plays.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I like the inside the distance because I know the submission is obviously a big possibility with both of them. Crosby losing by submission in his last fight to pretty much a kickboxer, and Patterson going out there and getting the submission. But I think a knockout's really in play here too for Patterson. Like you said, Crosby is going to be looking to close the distance and could get a little reckless as the fight goes on, and something tells me Patterson might crack him and get him out of there with the knockout actually. But yeah, I think that's a great bet. Patterson inside the distance, and the under, of course. Yeah, I don't think Kiefer Crosby really is a UFC level fighter. Maybe he'll get one more opportunity after this. But he's already getting old. I don't know if the time off necessarily he'll make any substantial improvements. And in his UFC debut against Kevin Jusset, he really didn't impress me, man. So I think Sam Patterson all day inside the distance is a great bet.
Yeah, and thanks on many clips, brother. But yeah, this next fight, man, Manel Kape versus Muhammad Mokaev. I mean, why is it so low on the card? I mean, why do you think they put it on the early prelims for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're people. What I've seen is they're trying to punish him. Apparently Mokaev's tough to work with, and they don't like how they've dealt with each other. And Kape has pulled out a lot of fights. I really couldn't tell you, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. This is one of the best fights on the entire card. At least make it the prelim headliner if you're not going to put it on the pay per view. I get understanding wanting a really good fight on the prelim headliner, but on the early prelims is crazy, man. This is a title eliminator and you put it on the early prelims. I mean, something has to be going on. It just makes no sense. But whatever. I mean, it kind of sucks for me because I'm going to Man City game tomorrow and I'm gonna be getting out late. But hopefully, I'll
Oh,
be able to
damn.
see this fight. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. It's like, but that also makes me wonder, like, if Mokaev wins, if he'll even get the title shot, you know, like if they really have like that much issues with him. But hopefully, they get it resolved. I mean, what do you think about the whole like? Did you see
Face-off
like
was crazy, dude.
well
Like it
like
was great. Yeah, them
the
fighting.
hotel?
This
Yeah,
is the
they
second
just
time they fought. I mean, these guys really the face-off was like nothing I've ever seen before. Like it was like two dogs. Like they just went at each other. It was really nuts. Like they really hate each other, and it's gonna be funny because the second they get in there, Mokaev's gonna be diving at his legs. I think he's gonna shoot a takedown 5 seconds into the fight.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like that has to be the game plan for Mokaev, right? Like if he just keeps it standing, it's going to be Kape, getting his rhythm. So early on, he has to shoot and shoot a lot. I do feel like eventually he has to kind of start to trust his striking because if he doesn't get a takedown or two, he can't get desperate and start shooting like he has in other fights, because he'll get timed. He's fighting a
Yeah.
different level fighter. But I've seen other fights like Manel Kape where he struggled a lot with southpaw wrestlers, like where, and I've seen Mokaev, he's good at switching stance and wrestling from both stances. So I feel like if Mokaev's smart, he's going to be, in that southpaw stance trying to jab like with his lead hand, which could help out his jab a lot as well. And then going for those single legs, man. And if he can, start to get the beat on Cape Sprawl, I think he can get to his back and kind of just start to take over the fight. And I do feel like, all this pre-fight stuff, it I think Mokaev is going to fight how he fights either way, just because he doesn't really have a second option. But it could make Kape kind of overeager, where he has to be more patient. And if he's real wild in there, Mokaev could get takedowns a little easier. So that could also be something that could be like the reason that Mokaev is going at him so hard. But yeah, originally I was thinking Kape had a chance here, but I'm leaning more towards Mokaev winning. I think he can win by submission too. But yeah, I think Mokaev is going to get the win here.
Yeah, I agree. I was on Mokaev all week. Originally, I was leaning more towards decision that he would kind of just, wrestle him, outpoint him. That the grappling would be able to open it up on the feet. And then as the fight went on, Mokaev would feel a lot more comfortable on the feet. But I have a feeling if it's Mokaev finishes fights very well. He has a lot of third round submissions. Um, if he's kind of beating Manel Kape up, I think Manel Kape might look for a way out of there. I'm not sold on him, being able to get dominated for 3 hard rounds and Mokaev doesn't find a submission. I tend to visualize Mokaev actually get him out of there, rear naked choke and put him in a way. The more I think about it, and you get a really good line there, plus 380, and I mean, you can get fancy and do like rounds 2 or 3 for a Mokaev submission and even boost those odds even more. Um, but yeah, I'm on Mokaev. The money line is probably the safest way, but I'll sprinkle most likely submission, maybe double chance submission decision, but you might as well just take the money line at that point. It'll be pretty much the same.
I don't know. I
But
will
yeah,
say though, or my bad, but
no,
at
go
this
ahead.
point, like the lineman, it's so juiced at this point though. It's like I don't know if I would bet minus 175, but yeah,
Yeah, it
because it was
definitely is a
like
little heavy.
it was almost even money or like on Monday.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money that came in on Mokaev. So yeah, I mean, I guess you can risk it if you want, but I feel like maybe the value's kind of gone on his money line. But yeah, I think Mokaev's a good bet. And I like what you're saying. I think the submission is good. And he has so many third round subs, man. Like he has like quite a few in the
He
UFC.
melts
So
people, and I could see the same thing happening with Cape, where especially
yeah,
if the fight's not going his way, I see a choke, But
yeah,
I just want to say I'm really excited. This is gonna be a great fight. They've built it up well. Just no clue why it's on the early prelims. Like that's one of the craziest things the
yeah, man.
UFC has done in a while.
I wanted to see him at the fucking press conference, dude. That would have been the press
Yeah,
conference sucked. Like Manel's last press conference was so funny where he was like he
yeah.
was talking shit
Calling
to
out Izzy.
Cara. Yeah, and Izzy and all that shit. So it's like it would have been cool if it would have been way better if they were at the presser, but uh yeah, I don't know. I guess UFC it's like they probably know that they can't be together in the same room either.
Yeah, I
So
don't. It wouldn't have worked, dude. It wouldn't have been a press conference. It would have just been the Cape versus Mokaev one.
yeah, but I'll let you go first on this next one. Elliott versus Preston Parsons. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, man, I like Parsons a lot in this spot. I think he's going to have a big advantage with the grappling, and I think he'll be able to implement that game plan, push the pace on Oblon. I think Oblon could pose some problems on the feet. He's pretty athletic, pretty sharp striker. But I like Preston Parsons, man, and I like the line here. I think he's really fought some solid competition in the UFC and been going about things the right way, putting in a lot of good work. And I think this will kind of be like a standout performance. um, I think submission is in play. It's a little hard for me to call exactly how this fight goes because we haven't seen too much of how Oban Elliott fares on his ground, at this level. But I like Parsons here, and I think it's one of the better bets of the night, in my opinion, at the value.
Yeah, honestly, I like this fight to go the distance. I think that's a good bet, and I think that Parsons by decision is a decent play as well. But honestly, I came to this fight when I originally looked at it. I was thinking that Parsons should be like a way bigger favorite, but when I actually looked into the fight, I do think that Elliott is a lot better than I remembered. Like his grappling isn't that bad. Like he has decent wrestling. He looks really strong. So I think that's going to be like the battle of the fight. I feel like both these guys are like average on the feet, but Elliott might be like slightly better just because I think he's a little more fluid. But Parsons going to be coming forward. I think it's going to kind of nullify a lot of the striking. And I do think the grappling will be competitive just because I feel like neither of these guys have like the greatest top control. Like you'll see Parsons get a lot of takedowns in his fights because he doesn't hold guys down, right? Like they're getting back up and he's taking them down again. And he has great cardio, but yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold Elliott down. So I think it's going to be like a lot of scrambles. It'll probably be like a fun fight to watch, but I just think Parsons will probably be like the better wrestler. So, but yeah, I don't think there's like a huge finishing threat for Parsons on the ground. I just don't. Elliott looks pretty decent, like as a grappler. He has good back takes too. So I feel like if Elliott gets the back, that's like the most dangerous position for either guy, like that they have,
Uh
like if
huh.
they're on the ground. So I don't know. I think Elliott by submission is like super unlikely though. But I feel like if someone's gonna have like dominant control, it'll be Elliott taking the back and controlling him. But I just feel like Parsons probably gonna be the better wrestler. Yeah, you said
Yeah,
Parsons sub. What's the line? Plus 300?
plus 300.
I don't
Which is
know.
not even, I would like it a little more, plus 400, plus 500. To be honest, you're kind of
Yeah.
swinging me towards the decision.
Yeah, I don't like that line, but yeah, good luck, bro. I just don't know. I mean, he said Val Woodburn had his back. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, definitely, it's like Oban also loses position. Both these guys, I don't think have like the greatest top control. But I haven't seen like Parsons is like he's like a straight wrestler. Like, I don't think he has like he's not like a purple belt or something like that in jiu-jitsu, right? I don't think. Maybe he is. But Parsons by split is plus 700. Yeah, that's not terrible either, especially if there's a lot of scrambles. But I want to see like how the judges are judging this early on, like if they're being a little biased. But yeah, this next fight, tough fight to call for me. I mean, I'll let you go first on this one. Prochnio versus Modestas Bukauskas. What are you thinking with this fight?
This, like you said, I mean, this is for me probably the toughest fight. These actually next two are pretty tough for me to call, man. I think just take this fight to go to decision. I know, these guys have both been chin before, and it's at light heavyweight, so it's at minus 150, minus 140. It's not really that great of a bet. Um, but as far as this fight goes, it's probably my favorite play. Pragniosim, I really don't pick him almost ever. He's screwed me up quite a few times. Bukauskas, I think, is a decent fighter, but he can shit the bed. I don't know, after getting chinned in his last fight, how he's going to look. I could see this being a really boring fight, actually, where they just kind of stare at each other a lot and it plays out on the feet, but, it's very low volume and it could go either way. Maybe this is a fight you look to bet that split decision prop, sprinkle it in.
Yeah.
Um, if I had to pick someone, I think I'd probably go Prack but just real tough for me to call.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like it's a dog or pass. Like if you're just looking to bet it, I think you got to bet Prochnio. I mean, he's going to be the more active guy. Bukauskas is going to have the cardio advantage, and if he's smart, if Bukauskas is smart, he'll just go and clinch him against the fence, man, and just try to make the fight super boring. But I just don't know if he's going to do that. I feel like Prochazka might get ahead early and kind of sneak that decision. But yeah, I don't have a lot of interest in this fight, honestly. Would you guys say Modest susceptible to leg kicks? Um, no, I can't really. The only fight I remember where like he had that big leg kick damage was where he got that oblique kick against Khalil. You're muted, bro. But
My bad, yeah. But that's a little different, that was like the one kick, and that was just a perfect kick.
well, I'm trying to remember. Like, is there other fights like where he got like half kicked a lot? Or I can't really. I don't
I
think so.
couldn't I don't
But
know.
I
I
just
know
feel like
Tyson Pedro would throw him, but I don't know. He won that fight, so
yeah. I definitely feel like Prochazka is gonna throw like a lot more kicks. Like he's gonna even if he's missing, he's gonna be throwing like more volume. So that's why I feel like it's dog or pass. But this next one, I do have a bet on Hadley, but kind of worried about that now. Honestly, it's like I don't know what's going on with him missing weight for 35. Maybe he's just bulking up, like trying to get big for the weight class and
yeah,
kind
I
of
mean
get
he did take it on short notice, but
yeah.
definitely a red flag if you ask me. But I don't know if he would take a fight on a 2 fight losing streak and is maybe he just really wants to fight at home. It's tough, it's real tough to say what's going on, and we're not going to know until the fight happens. But I want to count the bet out. It was a short notice fight at the end of the
Well,
day.
I was listening, like he did some interview and he was saying like, yeah, it's short notice, but I'm in shape. I've been lifting weights and getting bigger because he was gonna move up to 35 either way. So like I
Oh,
think
okay.
potentially it's like I don't know exactly, but maybe like he gained like some muscle,
Too much weight,
like
yeah.
and they called him and he took the fight and he's like, okay, it's gonna be easy to like get down to 35. This is what I'm hoping, with the bet, hopefully it's not like an injury or something. But and then he's like, shit, I put on like a little too much weight and he only missed by like 1 pound, but yeah, it's weird when you miss weight, like when you're moving up a weight class. And that happens a lot, dude. It's weird. It's like a lot of people like they'll move up and then they'll still miss weight. So but honestly, I just feel like skills wise, I think that Hadley's the more skilled fighter. Like I think if they're in the pocket, Hadley's gonna have the power advantage, even though he's coming up a weight class. And I think that his boxing is pretty slick. He has good combos. Loughran is like the better mover. Like he could kind of go in and out and point fight. But I think that definitely like the knockout threat is gonna be on the side of Hadley. And I think Colin is going to try to make it boring, hold him against the cage, maybe try to take him down and nullify the jujitsu. But I think Jake Hadley is the better grappler, like submission threat, and he's good off his back. So I think if Loughran wins, he's probably going to be able to nullify a lot of the jujitsu of Hadley off his back and kind of just hold him down. But for me, I'm hoping that Hadley can create these scrambles with his jujitsu and either use that to make it more of a stand-up fight and land the bigger punches, or get on top with the sweeps and take over in the grappling realm where I think he's actually the best. Like that's his best area is in the grappling. So I just feel like Hadley has some advantages, but Loughran could potentially make the fight boring and get the job done, kind of like nullifying Hadley. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think that the value's on Jake Hadley.
Yeah, I think it's a good bet. It's definitely a tough fight for me to call. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Callan. I think he just kind of takes over as the fight goes on. I do think a great bet, though, is Hadley first round knockout or, Hadley first round because I think that's when he's going to be most live. But I just think you kind of laid it out that there's going to be a lot of control time for Callan. I think he'll have some success. I think Hadley kind of accepts bottom position a little too much in my opinion, relies on that jujitsu, and I think that's just a tough matchup for him. But I have to see Hadley at 135 before I can really have a good sense of what he's going to be like at this weight class. It's definitely a close fight. I'm not going to bet it, so I'll be rooting for yours, and I'll probably just sprinkle a little bit on Hadley first round knockout. But overall, I think Callan will take over the fight.
Let me ask you this: would you say this is a step down for for Hadley from like Charles Johnson.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
definitely a step down in competition, a little step down, but I mean, and it's a step up for Colin in terms of his last opponent. Hadley's tougher than Angel Pacheco, but he has fought guys like Lapalus, who I am. Lapalus is a really good fighter, and that's who he made his debut against.
He didn't do
So
anything. That fight sucked, dude. He was just like
yeah,
hugging him against the cage. But yeah, he like went the distance with him and everything. And I'm pretty both these guys won the Cage Warriors title. So it's like Cage Warriors champ versus Cage Warriors champ. So but yeah. Next one, Bruno Brazil versus Molly McCann. I bet Bruno in this fight too. So this was more just a value bet. I mean, I'm not like super confident that Bruno is gonna win. I'm not like if it was like even money, I would say that I would pick McCann and probably better and say she was going to get the victory. But I think that the line's way off. I feel like Bruno should be like plus 175 at the most, and it's like almost double that. So I just feel like McCann, I think she's good at 115. Like I definitely feel like she looked better in her last fight, but I just don't think Brazil is that bad. I feel like she's gonna have the range. She's gonna be able to use her kicks at potentially the check hook, move around, and we'll see how good McCann's grappling actually is in this fight. If she takes down Brazil, it's not gonna be like Diana Belbita where it's a pure kickboxer, someone that has no grappling at all. Bruno Brazil could potentially threaten with her guard or just be able to get back up and make it a harder fight. So I feel like this is going to answer a lot of questions for McCann, honestly, because you look at Bruna Brazil. She had the bad debut versus Denise Gomes, but I thought she looked pretty good in her second fight when she beat Bannon, and then she was competitive versus Loma Bunmi as well, who I think is a decent fighter in the weight class. So if Molly McCann come out here and steamroller and look like a minus 350 favorite, I think that give her someone in the top 15 for her next fight. But I just think it's going to be closer than the line indicates. I feel like Brazil is the better athlete and probably has more tools like on the feet. So I just think she could make it really competitive and maybe win the decision. So I'm going to go with Brazil here because of the line.
yeah, and I do agree the line's a little wide. My thing is though, like if it's a close decision, do you really think they're going to give it to Brazil? I mean that's just a little hard for me to fathom. I know we like to think that hometown bias doesn't play a factor, but it definitely does, in my opinion. The crowd's going to be going wild for Molly McCann. I've nicknamed her 8-ball Molly instead of meatball because she walks out like she's all coked up. And yeah, I just I know the line's a little wide, but I got to go Molly McCann here, man. I think she looks good at 115. If you go through her career, she really only has the one bad loss to Storyalenko, and that was with Julia's move, that armbar, and I think she grew from it. I'd be pretty shocked if Molly McCann doesn't get the win. I think this is really going to get the card going, and they put it here, in a good spot on the card to build the momentum. Bruno Brazil's a decent fighter. Might be a little more naturally athletic than Molly McCann, but I think Molly will close the distance. She's come forward, be aggressive, and has the better boxing, in my opinion. And, I don't even really know if she'll need to use the grappling here. I think on the feet, she'll box Bruno Brazil up with the pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I mean, I think there's a decent likelihood that could happen. I just like the value on Bruno. I feel like she's pretty skilled, man, and I do like her camp as well. I think that they're definitely gonna have a good game plan, and that's a big thing like with women's MMA because I don't think you could really say like McCann's levels above Bruno Brazil like in anything. Like she's not like a super skilled fighter. So if they have a great game plan for her, the MMA nerds and I think that she's gonna have Kyle Barallo in her corner. I just feel like she has a good team around her. She's athletic, and she could maybe pull the upset here. But let's get to this next fight: Daniel Pineda versus Nathaniel Wood. Another big favorite here with Nathaniel Wood. I think that it's a little bit of a juice line. Nathaniel Wood has not been winning recently, and even at 145, he just hasn't been the greatest in his performances. Pineda, definitely has not been looking good. He's old. He's coming off a layoff, but I feel like if you looked at him at the weigh-ins today, a lot of his other weigh-ins, he really struggled to make weight and looked really bad. But today he was ripped, man. It looked like he maybe got on some steroids or I don't know what, but
Again,
he
I mean,
looks
he
really
popped in the
good.
past.
Yeah, and I mean
He's
if you remember, he actually won that one night tournament like for PFL. He like knocked out like I was actually there live for that. I can't remember. It was like Magomed, one of their like big guys there that's like won the tournament like 3 times. He like KO'd him in like 30 seconds. Pineda did, and he choked out Jeremy Kennedy in like a minute. And that one night he was like fucking on fire that night, dude, because he beat like some really good guys. Like it was like he fought multiple times on the same night, but yeah, now he's way past that at this point, and he's been in the game forever, dude. I mean, this guy was in the UFC like when I was in like elementary school or middle school. He was like, fuck, it's like he was in UFC in like 2010 or something like that. Like so, Pineda, I just feel like he's probably past it. You know, if this was a few years ago, maybe he could use his size, get that early takedown and submit Wood or kind of just grind him out. But I feel like nowadays he's gonna gas out, man. He might have a good first round or first few minutes where he could be competitive, and he's gonna be tough. I mean, his last fight with Caceres was crazy. It's like he was gassed, he was getting his ass whooped, but he would have these small moments like where he landed a big shot and hurt Caceres, and he definitely was, hanging in there. So I think it's gonna be a harder fight for Wood than a lot of people think. I feel like Pineda is gonna start fast, but I think Wood will end up probably getting the job done by decision or maybe late finish. Like honestly, I would look more at the props than his money line though. Like maybe like round 2, 3 finish or Wood by decision because I don't see a lot of value in his money line.
Yeah, I like that round 2 or 3 finish for Wood. I have to agree, man. Wood at featherweight for me, it's never sold me. I think he's a little undersized. I always thought Pineda was a pretty big guy. Like you're gonna see him in the octagon, his back is gonna be big. Like he's gonna look a lot bigger than Nathaniel Wood. But like you said, I mean, Pineda, in my opinion, is just a little bit past his prime at this point. To get the win here, for me to pick him, it's just Nathaniel Wood, doesn't warrant such a high line. And a lot of these lines are just juice, these money lines in particular. But I think that round 2 or 3 for Wood, because I don't know if it'll. I would probably lean knockout, but I'm not too sure. Wood isn't overly like the biggest finisher, but I see Pineda gassing out. You made a good point. He looks to be in great shape, so I think if you have like heavy Wood and parlays, it's a mistake because there's going to be scary moments. I
Yeah.
feel Pineda will have flashes. He might rock Wood in the feet, but Wood is a very cerebral fighter, and even if he gets hurt, I think he'll have the ability to recover and take over as the fight goes on. He shows good fight IQ, gets takedowns when he needs them, but this is a lot closer than I think the line indicates.
Yeah, I agree. Like if Pineda wasn't coming off these losses and like a long layoff, I honestly, would even think about potentially betting that money line. But I feel like he's almost unbettable too. Like I want to ask you about that. Like, do you think it's worth like value hunting on Pineda, or you think it's just like you don't really know where he's at?
I mean, I would bet Pineda before I would bet Bruno Brazil, or Curtis Blaydes. I don't know if he has the biggest value on the card, like as one of these big underdogs. But I actually like him more than quite a few. As far as the big underdogs on the card go, and there's people out there who are always going to look for underdogs. Yeah, round 1 Pineda I think is a good bet. MMA Clips
Yeah.
is saying. I agree because I think he's going to need to come out strong and spark them. But Pineda, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a big underdog, I wouldn't shy people away from that. I do think there's not a crazy. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world for me for him to go out there and put away Nathaniel Wood. I kind of laid out some of the question marks I have about Wood, and a loss to Pineda I think would really open him up about him being in the wrong weight class. What do you think? You think he's 45 or 35?
Nah, I definitely think he's 135 or for sure. I mean, you see that his last fight when he's on his back, dude, he wasn't doing anything, and I've seen him in other fights like where it was he wasn't so undersized and he was a lot better like trying to get up and at least being active off bottom. But his last fight, it's like he got taken down and it's like he couldn't even move the guy like on top of him at all. So I think it's a size issue, and I don't even think he was a big 135er. I mean, I don't really know why he moved up. I mean, maybe he just wants to fight a lot more often or something, but yeah, I definitely think he should be at 35s. Like at 135, it's like a really good division, but I think he's like, right around the top, I don't know if he's top 15, but he's right around there, so I don't know. Maybe at 145 he thinks it's like an easier weight class, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe he doesn't like the weight cut. I a lot of times actually favor guys moving up, and not taking the toll on their body with the weight cuts. But I just don't think Wood's cut out for 145, man. But I just don't think this will be. In his last fight, it kind of proved. Naimov's not like, he's a good fighter, but losing to him isn't like the best look in the world. Um, but yeah, I do think there's a little value on Pineda. I won't be betting it personally, but I think Wood takes over as the fight went on. But yeah, that's it.
yeah, man. So this next fight, Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze, it looks like there's some money coming in on Giga, man. I mean, he was like, I think Allen was like minus 240, and now he's like, I'm about to look right now. Oh, hold up, my bad. Minus 213. So there's a little bit of money that's started to come in here on Giga. So what do you think about that fight? You think Giga's a live underdog in that one?
No, Allen's one of my more confident picks. I think he's the better martial artist everywhere. I think he'll actually be able to implement his ground game. I think his submission is live. He has that great front choke game. Everything tells me Arnold Allen. I would be, pretty shocked if Giga wins. I understand he's very dangerous on the feet, but Allen's going to be hungry, man. He hadn't had like a real, solid win in a long time, dude. His last win is against Calvin Cater, and that was, a weird injury. You don't get that same satisfaction, I'm sure. And then, toughest fights in the division, arguably, besides the champion and Volk, against Evloev and Max. So you can't really fault him. I don't think Giga is on that level. What would Max do to Giga? He would destroy him. And Allen wasn't too competitive against Max, but it was a decent fight. Um, I'm all over Allen. My big bet of the weekend is going to be a 3-leg parlay: Edwards, Aspinall, Allen. I've been saying it all week. 3 keys, free money. So that's going to be the first leg, and I have a feeling we're going to get the pay-per-view started on a good note.
Yeah, I agree. I like Allen, and I like what you said. I mean, if he makes it a full mixed martial arts fight, I think he's gonna have a big advantage on the ground. I think him by submission at plus 800, plus 850 on some spots is definitely a good bet. I think it's viable, but the only thing I'm a little bit worried about, like with Allen, is if he makes it like a just like a low volume striking fight, it could play out really close. Be like split decision or something. But I just feel like Allen is at a way better moment in his career. He even though he's not the most active guy either, he's younger. He's been fighting a lot more than Giga. And I just don't know where Giga's at in his career, man. I mean, he had a lot of injuries. He had a lot of time off. He took that really bad uh beat down against Cater and then came back for Caceres. And I didn't think he looked the greatest, even though he got the win in that fight with Bruce Leroy. So I just don't know what version of Giga we're gonna get. I mean, if we get a really good version of Giga and it's a straight up kickboxing fight, I think,
It's going to be a tough fight for Allen.
yeah, I think it'll be close. So that's why maybe it could potentially play out close, but hopefully Allen's smart and mixes it up. And I think if he does, he's gonna have the advantage there. I mean, you look at his last fight with Evloev, he had to have done a lot of wrestling and grappling for that camp, and it showed. I mean, he did a decent job of defending. So if he could build off that for this camp and put in a lot more grappling and maybe use it offensively in this one, I think he could get a submission. So I mean, what do you think about the submission at plus 800?
I think it's a great bet, dude. I think there's great value. I think that would be Allen by far his best game plan to go out there and wrestle. I think Giga will show a lot of holes in the ground if it's taken there. He came into MMA late. I don't know if he ever, developed that ground game, and I think Allen might be one of the first guys to really be able to exploit it. But if it's on the feet, man, and Giga shows up, it's going to be a tough fight. Like, don't expect Giga to be no easy fight. Like, the man's dangerous, very dangerous. So Allen's got to bring his best, but I'm sure he will, fighting at home, and like I said, he's got to be so hungry for a win. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, see those props are good. I mean, plus two. Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully you'll cash one of those, bro, because it would be pretty crazy odds right there. But yeah, I mean, this next fight we got CLD versus Gregory Rodriguez. I don't know. I mean, I just don't see a ton of value in this fight on the money line. I feel like both guys have clear paths to victory. Where Christian Leroy Duncan, I think, has to use his footwork, not let Gregory back him up and try to pull him into his counters. And we've seen Gregory's chin is a little questionable, so COD is definitely live for a knockout. But I do think if Rodriguez pressures into him and makes it more of like a boxing heavy fight and mixes in the takedowns, he could make it a really hard night for Christian Leroy Duncan. So this one, I really don't have a strong read on this one. I feel like the fight doesn't go to decision. It took some money at this point, so I don't know how much value it has anymore now that I'm looking at the line. But I think it's not going to go to decision though, personally, because I feel like Gregory's live to finish him if he gets top position, and even on the feet he could knock him out. I feel like COD kind of has some weird reactions in the boxing range at times, and obviously Leroy Duncan could pull him into an elbow or something crazy and catch Gregory coming in and put him out as well. So I just feel like both these guys are live for a knockout, and Rodriguez is live for a submission too. So I'm gonna lean with COD just because Gregory has that propensity to brawl a lot. I can't really trust him to go out there and wrestle, especially in front of a big pay-per-view crowd and everything like that. And I just think that Christian is the more durable guy. Like if they're gonna have a striking fight, I gotta kind of trust his chin a little bit more. So I'm gonna go with Christian Leroy Duncan in this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident on CLD, just because, I mean, my thing is, yeah, Gregory has a clear path, but I mean, I feel like we say this for almost all of his fights, and he just doesn't really like to wrestle, man. He has even said it, like, he just likes to stand and bang. And against CLD, I think this is a bad matchup. I think CLD will be able to use his length and is a lot more fluid as a striker. I definitely think Gregory has more knockout power. I'm not sold on CLD. I know he gets knockouts, but I don't think he's really a powerful puncher. He has good timing, good accuracy and good volume at times. So I do think CLD might just, float around and pick him apart for 3 rounds, and Gregory might hang tough. But, I know you said you didn't like the money lines. I like CLD money line a lot. It would be probably my favorite bet more than anything else. Um, I know the obvious thing is to take the knockout, but it does scare me a little bit that he might get a decision. Um, so I would almost say there's more value, as far as value goes, but it's tough for me to call. I'd rather just be on CLD. I like his money line here.
Where I got you. And this next fight, Bobby Green versus Patty Pimblett. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is one that was first. Let me get prepared.
Oh
This
shoot.
is one that was tough for me, but obviously with the wig, gonna have to go for Patty. I actually had a dream, dude, a really clear dream that Patty got a knockout. I don't always remember my dreams. I don't know what that tells you, but it was clear day. He knocked him out. I know Bobby does have some chin issues, but originally I thought he would kind of just use the takedowns, control Bobby. But Bobby's a wrestler, man. So this is a real tough fight for me to call. I'm not too confident in Patty. There's been some money coming in on him, but ultimately I'll pick the younger fighter who's fighting at home and has the UFC behind him. I think they made this fight for a reason. They want to get Patty to continue to build him. And yeah, I think Bobby Green, he, I don't want to say if this fight was a few years ago, he definitely would have won because he's always been a little, spot on. Some fights he'll look really good and other times he'll shit the bed. But yeah, something just tells me Patty's going to get the job done here.
Yeah, this one, like you said, this was a hard one for me too. Originally I was going with Patty as well, but I just don't like a lot of stuff I've been hearing like this week, like where you're saying that he almost pulled out of the fight because of depression and he wasn't 100% focused and all that type of stuff. And then I went back and rewatched his last fight with Tony, and it's like, man, he looked horrible in that fight, man. Like it's like a big regression from the Jared Gordon fight. So I just don't know. Like mentally, is he all there? Is he like, I don't know. To me, this is a really weird fight because it's like Bobby Green, he's older. They're setting him up here. Obviously, they're bringing him over to the UK, and they're trying to get Paddy to win over a name. And you'd think like earlier in the week, I was saying like it's like you just got the feeling that Paddy's going to get the win, but I don't know. I just feel like his last fight he looked horrible versus Tony. Like he got really lucky, man, that Tony slipped on that kick in the second round because he just laid on him for the whole second round. He put out like no ground and pound, really did nothing. And then the third round he's exhausted. It's like so I don't know if he comes in with that type of cardio in this fight and is looking like that. I mean, he could clip Bobby and knock him out, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be able to get a lot of takedowns in the fight. And if he's not training at his optimal, I feel like Bobby's gonna take it. So I kind of switched my pick to Bobby on that one, just because I just don't know what version of Patty we're gonna get. Honestly, I mean, uh, yeah, Patty's depressed. I don't know. I mean, it's just like him saying that was kind of weird. It's like his coaches are gonna pull him out of the fight because he's not training. It's like hopefully he looks good, but
I mean, he has to be trading. Come on.
well, I don't think.
It's
I mean,
everything's
why
tongue in
wouldn't
cheek.
he?
He wouldn't have
That's
made the weight if he wasn't training. He cuts 60 pounds.
he said. Like he after that, he got when his coach told him like, "You're not motivated. You're not even trying it at practice." That the last 5 weeks he turned it on and was like training super hardcore or whatever. But still, it's like, so you're fucking off like a fourth year camp like depressed or something. Like it's just kind of weird, especially like um his last fight he looked horrible, I thought. So if I just think if he looks like how he did his last fight again, it won't go good for him. He needs to go back to his old self and look a lot better, So but we'll see. I mean, Bobby, he's definitely soon he's gonna be done. He has a style, it's like that you wouldn't think it's like gonna age well, but somehow he's been able to last like a long time because it's like Roy Jones, have you seen like he got killed by a lot of bums like at the end of his career, But yeah, he resigned before the fight too. What do you think about that? Because he waited all the way to like fight week and then he resigned. It's like that could be like a
It
sign of
could just
him.
be a matter of the UFC brass, being in person though, seeing him. The people, they're
Yeah,
all over there. He lives in England. It's across the world. People do business face to face. A lot
but
of
if he
times.
really
So
KO'd him in the first, he could probably ask for like way more money.
I mean, Patty's a big star. I'm sure he's getting paid well, regardless. The win over Bobby Green would be big, but it doesn't really change the course of his career.
Well,
He's
I think
already a
it
pretty
does
big.
for sure. Like if
I
he
mean, he's
loses,
already a huge. Yeah, if he loses for sure, but a win, he's already a huge name, dude.
yeah. I mean it's not going to change it like his name value, but I think it'll change like for the UFC like how they view him. But
Yeah, who they can match him up with next.
yeah. But next fight, we're gonna talk about this one a little bit because I totally disagree like with your opinion on this one, man. I feel like all the value in the world is on Curtis Blaydes. It makes no sense. This line literally makes no sense to me at all. Literally, like you look at Tom Aspinall, it's like sure he's KO'd or ran through
Good.
these guys early in the first round. He looks really good and he's been beating all these guys, right? But after round
Tom
three,
wants the fight to go longer.
his
He
record
wants
is
to be put
one
in
and
deep
two.
water.
Bro, no, he doesn't. He
Yes,
doesn't
he
want to.
does. He
He
said
could
it.
say it. He could say it, but he doesn't want to
He's
do it. If he
waiting for
okay, if he
someone to
wants to
take
do
him.
it, then he should just not try to get the knockout in the first round
Come on,
because
let's
he
be
knows
real.
that's bullshit. He wants to get the
He just
knockout
wants
as
someone to
fast as
be able to
possible.
last with him, to
Bro,
someone,
did you
to
see?
test.
But I wanted to rewatch that fight, him versus Arlovsky, right? And you were saying like, how could you say he was tired? Did you see like the last 30 seconds of the first round? That guy is fucking. He was like breathing, like dude, like he just ran a marathon, and he's bouncing on his feet, like not doing shit.
You
Like
don't think fighting
he
five
was
rounds though
gassed as
changes
fuck.
from fighting 3 rounds?
Well, I'm just saying
You
he
don't
was,
think the preparation is
but
different
he
for a
said
five
not
round
for him.
title?
He said he doesn't train cardio.
Oh,
He's
come
like,
on.
I train for 1 round fights. He said that himself, bro. I mean, I'm just saying, but
He's
like,
just telling you. He's also saying he's wanting to go to the deep water,
but
you
look
know?
at
So
his
I guess he's
record. Look at his record after the first
what are you
round.
gonna
He has one
when
win and
has
2 losses after
when
round
has
one.
someone lasted in the first round and not in the
Well,
UFC?
3 people have done
Which
it.
is
I mean,
crazy. I mean, he's
three
fighting
people have
guys like
done it, and
Volkov. I mean, the dude
yeah,
was a
but
kid. He was 20 years old. You know what I mean?
that's a gift and a
Developed.
curse, though, dude. Like, he has no experience in the. You're telling me if this fight goes to round 2, you're gonna be like, oh, he's still a lock to win. I mean, you can't tell me you know he has cardio just because he says it
No,
in
of course
interviews.
not. Of
Like,
course not.
so I don't know. I just feel like if you're looking at this fight, like Aspinall, has he shown you like he has amazing durability? Like, can you know that he could take a clean, hard ass
I mean, he
punch
ate
from Curtis
Pavlovich
Blaydes?
punches a lot better than Curtis did. So you have to
Is
say
he
the
eight? I'd
durability
say
favors him.
I'm not saying yeah, he favored in durability, but I'm just saying there's a lot of questions with Aspinall, man, to be this big of a favorite. Like
But the
we
reasons
don't
there's
know.
questions is because of how good he's looked. He's just steamrolled everyone. And this isn't like a prospect. This is a guy who won the belt. You know, he steamrolled Volkov. He steamrolled Pavlovich. Like this is, Sergey Spivak. Like
But look at those
styled
like
on these guys.
those guys. I mean, it's not the same matchup though, man. I mean, it's shit. And Sergey Pavlovich and Aspinall, like if you watch that fight, they literally just went in the center and just were exchanging punches in the pocket, dude. Like if Blaydes does that, yeah, he'll get knocked the fuck out if he wants to be a retard like
When's the
that. But
last time Blaydes shot for a takedown?
I don't know. I mean, he has the most takedowns in UFC history for a heavyweight.
But
I don't
if
think you
he
could
has
really like.
not been wrestling.
Why would anyone wrestle out Jailton Almeida? I mean, I don't think that would be a
But
good
it's
game
why
plan.
wouldn't he? He didn't wrestle against Derek Lewis. You don't think it was a good game
Well,
plan for him to wrestle in that fight?
he shot
The
into an
first takedown,
uppercut and
that was
got
his
knocked the
first
fuck
one. But
out.
the whole first round, he stood with him. He didn't shoot a single
Well,
takedown.
he was
It's
lighting
plus over. Curtis's over
he was
point
lighting
0.5
Derek up on the
takedowns is
feet
plus
though.
money.
Like
Plus money
he was lighting Derek up on the feet
until he
round
got
one.
slept.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, there was no reason for Blaydes to shoot a takedown on Derek Lewis. He shot a takedown and it got him knocked the fuck out. Him
Bro.
shooting the takedown got him KO'd. Like he was fine on the feet in that fight. He was outstriking Derek easily. But dude, the only guys that KO'd Blaydes, like you could say he's chinny, but it's fucking like 3 of the hardest hitters in UFC history, dude. I mean,
And
Pavlovich,
Aspinall couldn't be up
Francis
there.
Ngannou, and I don't think he has as much power as those guys. Just me personally. I think he has great speed, like elite speed, accuracy, and shit. But I don't think like if he lands one uppercut, he's not gonna kill Curtis Blaydes with one punch. It would have to be like combination 2, 3, 4 punches in a row, which he obviously has the speed to do it. But you think he has the same one punch power as like Derek Lewis and Francis? I mean, I don't think
I
so.
mean, I would say he's a better striker than both of them, though, in terms of the
Well, he's a
skill
better
set. You know what I
striker,
mean?
but I'm just saying, like getting hit with
I
one
guess
punch,
no, not
like
as explosive power, no, but in terms of the striking skill set, I mean, this guy is unlike anyone I think we've seen at
well,
heavyweight
Aspinall
before.
has elite. His speed is really good. Like his speed
He's
is
so
elite.
good, man, and I'm really surprised you don't see it, man. I mean, maybe I'm gonna look
But the line,
stupid.
dude, the line makes no sense. Like
I guess
you
it's
can't
wide for
explain
a
to me how the
heavyweight
line
fight,
makes sense.
you know. But I mean, I just think that's the type of talent that Tom Aspinall is. I mean,
Blaydes
he
could literally get one takedown and win the fight. Literally, it could. That's a possibility of happening. So if he
bro,
gets
Tom
one
Aspinall
takedown and
is
wins the
a
fight,
good grappler, dude. I don't think you
off of his
understand.
dude, no what no there's literally no heavyweights in 2024 that if Curtis Blaydes takes them down and puts them on their back that they're gonna do shit. He's not
You don't
subbing
think he'll
on
get up?
his back. No, I don't think he'll get up. I don't think so. I mean, maybe he could sit up once. That's what I'm saying. Like one takedown, maybe one takedown it won't be over, but one takedown I think it raises Curtis' chances from being like a plus 310 to like minus 300 if he gets one takedown. Because I just think Tom Aspinall, his cardio is totally unproven. He's gassed in fights
It's because
before.
no one has been able to survive with him. What do you?
But we've seen
If
it. We've seen it.
he's
We saw it. We
destroyed
saw it
everyone
with
he
the
fought
dude when
10
he
years,
fought
8
Arlovsky.
years
When he
ago.
fought Arlovsky, he was tired. How can you say
How
he
could he
wasn't
be
gassed,
tired if
bro?
he goes? Yeah, at the end of the round, look at how he
Arlovsky literally
recovers on the
quit, dude.
stool.
Arlovsky threw a leg kick at the start of the second round, was sitting on his knees in the fetal position, and lifted his fucking head up like this. Like, what the fuck is he
It was
doing?
the fastest
Why
rear
is he
naked
doing this,
choke
bro?
ever.
Why is he going like this? He literally gave him his neck. He's like, here you go. You could sub me. Like, he fucking quit, dude. I mean, so it is what it is. He literally quit. Like, you're not going to convince me, like, he just did that just to, like, what was he looking at the fucking ceiling? Like, dude, he was trying to give up his neck. Like, bro, get me the fuck out of here. Like, but I don't know. Just honestly, I just think that the line's way off. Like, because Blaydes, dude, he's one of the best heavyweights in the world too. He's athletic as hell. He has great movement. He trains in Colorado with elevation. He's not going to go in there and quit. I mean, he's never going to get another chance to fight for the belt if he loses this fight. Like, this is his one chance. And he could go in there and shit the bed. I mean, that's the one issue with Curtis Blaydes is he, like, a lot of his fights, like, where they're super like marquee fights, he just hasn't shown up the greatest. But if Curtis Blaydes shows up in,
Every time he's been in a big
he's won in main
every
events. I mean, he beat Volkov.
every
He's beaten
big
some
fight,
great
all
guys.
the big fights, the title eliminators. This is
Well, he made it to a title fight, dude. I mean, he's
this
in
is
a
an inner
title fight
title
right
shot.
now.
This
So
is an
it is
inner
what it
title in a
is.
normal division. This is a number one contenders fight. Or I guess if John Jones was an active champion. You know it's extenuating circumstances, but I think the fluidity of Aspinall is going to shine. The striking. I see. If Curtis shoots in, he's got to be worried about knees, elbows,
Dude, Blaydes
guillotines.
could KO him too, though.
Oh, definitely, of course, it's a
So
heavyweight, of course, and Blaydes is a
that's why
powerful
the
puncher, but
line is off, man. Like, I'm honest. I'm gonna bet on Blaydes. I
you
already bet
should.
on
I
him a
mean,
little bit.
it's
I'm gonna bet more
it's
on him. Um, I don't know. If Blade shows up and he's fighting 100% optimal and Tom is at 100%, I think it's like
Tom
way closer
destroys
to it.
him, dude.
It's way no way, dude. You're crazy.
The moment
It's
would
way
have to get
closer
to
to
Tom. He'd have to get
50-50.
slept. I mean, at these guys' best, the type, their athletic their peak performance. I mean,
He's never fought
Aspinall
anyone
is the best thing we've ever seen. Never fought anyone.
not like Blades.
I mean, there's not too many guys like Blaydes at heavyweight. He's very unique, but he's fought a who's who: Volkov, Tybura, Spivak.
Bro, come
Woody
on.
Pavlovich.
You're reaching
This is the top of
Spivak and
this.
shit, though. Like, he's really beaten he's beaten one super high level heavyweight in his career.
How if he beat Volkov and Pavlovich,
I don't think
smashed them both.
Pavlovich to me is a fraud. Like, and I
He
call that.
knocked out Curtis. He
He
destroyed
knocked out
Curtis.
Curtis. He did, but I'm
He
just saying, like,
destroyed him.
I don't think Pavlovich is like if him and Curtis fought 10 times, I think Curtis would win more than Pavlovich won. And I don't maybe I'm totally wrong,
I mean,
but
I would bet Curtis in that fight, so I can't really disagree with you there. But to say he's not high
Blaydes just
level is
fought.
crazy.
I'm talking about, like, that was one of those fights where I think Blaydes, like, just didn't show up, didn't fight. Like, he didn't have a good game plan. He tried to strike with the guy after one failed
Because
takedown.
that's
So
what he does with every fighter now. He likes to strike, and against Aspinall, it's going to be a bad decision, man. Tom's going to look fast, crisp,
all I'm saying is, like,
diverse.
if you're looking at the resumes, I mean, Blaydes' resume blows Aspinall's resume out the water. Like, it's not even comparable.
That's
Curtis Blaydes is,
crazy,
dude,
bro.
how many UFC champs has Tom Aspinall beaten? One.
And
And
Curtis Blaydes fought who?
Curtis has beaten like
Washed guys.
four or five former
Wash.
UFC champs. Well, I'm just saying he's fought, like, if you look at
He
their
fought
resumes
Junior
of
Dos
who they
Santos in
fought,
2020,
dude, he
and
fought so
Alistair
many better
Overeem in
guys.
2018. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess he's definitely been in the UFC for a longer time, and he's older, so.
well, they're probably similar age, right? I mean, maybe he's like a little older, but
Yeah,
Curtis is not old. Like, he's like in his
yeah,
30s.
33, 2 years older. So like you
Yeah.
said, a little bit older.
But I feel like these are clearly two of the most skilled heavyweights in the world. So if you're giving me that line, especially with an unproven guy, I think Blaydes is the side, man. I really do. Like, I just feel like Blaydes is getting underestimated here, man. Like, he really is. He really is. I wouldn't be shocked if he won, but it's just hard for me to come out here and say he's gonna win just because he's had these real bad performances in these big moments, man. But I don't know. I kind of like Blaydes here.
Yeah, I see why. Blaydes is normally a guy I like to bet on, but I'm really on the Tom Aspinall hype train. Of course, I'm just a believer, man, in this guy's skills and how good he is, and I just
Yeah.
don't know how you couldn't be after if you look at what he's done in the octagon,
Well,
man.
like, dude,
It's
that last fight was it was just so sloppy, man. Like, it was literally a brawl. It was, they were brawl,
sloppy.
bro. They were
How
brawling in
could
the
you?
pocket. Dude, both their chins were right in the air. That's why Tom got rocked. Like, and he knocked him out in like 1 minute or 50 seconds or something. Like, it was,
Exactly.
they literally met in the middle and
Tom's
were
just a
just
savage. That was
exchanging.
a short notice fight. He just went in there and said, "Let me just brawl with the scariest guy in the." And say what you want about Pavlovich now, but when he was going into that fight, dude, he had what, like 5 first round knockouts in a row. Like to go in there and be like, "Hey, we're just gonna get in the pocket, dude." Like you said, you're not sold on Aspinall's power, but he clearly knows. Like if he's gonna go in there in the pocket against fucking Pavlovich at that time, come on, man. That speaks volumes, This
Well, I
guy
just think
Tom's
it's
the
because I
truth.
think he knows that's his one way to win these fights, man. Like he has to win in like less than 5 minutes. But I don't know. I guess he could prove me wrong. Like if he fights John, dude, I hope all you guys that are like huge, like Tom
John
dickwad.
doesn't want to fight
No,
him,
I don't care.
bro.
Well,
John's
fine.
not
No,
gonna fight him. Why do you think
if Tom wins this fight, they'll fight each other eventually. They will. So, but if they
John
fight,
has
I just
said
want
he's
everyone
not
to keep
fighting
that
him?
same energy, though, dude. I want everyone. I want Tom to be like minus 400 favorite versus John, because I'll
It's
bet, dude.
tough.
I'll
It's
bet
tough to
fucking
pick
like 10
against
G's
John
on
Jones.
Jones, dude. Like, dude, that would be an easy fight. Like that. I think
Bro, what are you
Tom's,
easy
Tom,
fight?
Tom's overrated, man.
How
I'm
is
telling you,
you clearly you think
Tom's
calling him an
overrated.
easy fight is crazy
He would be
work,
an easy
dude.
fight for John Jones, because Jones would just take him down quick, like real quick, I think. So, but
Come
yeah, I
on,
don't know.
man.
I mean, I guess we'll
Easy.
see. Like, dude, when
Then why
Jones,
doesn't Jones want to fight him?
because he has no name value.
He's the
And
interim champ, and John is the champ.
yeah, but he does nothing for John's legacy. If John goes out there and
That's
subs him in the first round like he did Cyril, everyone would be
you.
like,
You.
oh, he subbed a guy that had 15 fights in 1 minute and
It
30
would be
seconds.
like, wow, John Jones has wins over fucking 3 generations of MMA. That's how good he
Yeah,
is.
but Stipe is considered the best heavyweight ever. Like Tom
And
doesn't
he
have
hasn't
that
had a win
heavyweight
in
accolade.
6 years.
But no one,
Stipe's
people that
last win is
dude,
is 6 years ago.
the only people that care about though that is us though. Like when you're looking at his resume, dude, that people that are casuals that are gonna talk about it, they're just gonna see he beat the second best light heavyweight probably of all time, DC, and maybe the second best heavyweight, and then he beat the best fucking heavyweight of all time with Stipe. I mean, I don't know. He'll beat like, dude. Tom has to get there eventually. Like, Tom doesn't deserve a fight with John Jones. I don't get why all these
He's the
people are like,
interim champ,
dude, what
and
they
John
like
is
is
the
like write
champ.
Tom off. Yeah,
Then
but
why? Then
he's
strip
only the
John of the
interim
belt.
champ because
What do you
John
mean he doesn't
fucking.
deserve to?
He's only the interim champ because John fucking tore his
Because
shoulder.
John won't fight him.
No, it's because John fucking tore his rotator cuff. What do you mean? Because he won't? It's not like he said, I
John
refuse to
says
fight Tom, so that's why we're gonna
he
do it.
literally says that. He said he's not willing to
Bro, they
fight
already
John.
have set it, dude. They set the fight with him and Stipe before Tom even won the fucking belt. Like Tom wasn't even in the discussion. Steve Jones fucking blew his shoulder out, and then they gave him the interim title because he was going to be out for over a year. But before he wasn't even in that discussion, they had already set up the fight with Stipe and Jones. It wasn't like Tom was the interim champ before. He's been the interim champ for years. Like they only did it after he fucking blew his shoulder out. Like that's the only reason why they gave him the belt because Jones got injured. So I don't know. It's just he
I mean, they
hasn't like.
didn't give him the belt. He knocked out Sergey Pavlovich. He
Well,
took
they
the
gave
belt.
him a belt. They gave him a
Give him a
UFC belt
shot.
for KOing
But
a
he's the
guy that's like.
clear number one contender in the division. If with or without the belt, dude. Look at the
Well,
resume.
him and Blaydes beat him though. Blaydes got
Come
that
on.
dub over him, dude. No, but I don't. Blaydes has like just as much of a case to get the title shot as Aspinall. That's why they're fighting each other. I don't know. You can't like Blaydes had a couple losses, but
He's literally on a one fight win. He's not. He's won one fight.
yeah, but he's probably won like 5 out of 6 or something, right? Something like
Yeah.
that. And he beat Tom. He finished him in 15
I mean,
seconds.
the one thing
Took
that
him
is
out.
funny to me is how the main and co-main event both the times the first fight ended, weirdly. This both rematches, but neither fight really got to play out.
See, you guys shit on Stipe too, man. But like, what's the point of shitting on? How can you
It's
guys say
done.
it's
I
nothing?
don't know. That's disrespectful. I mean, I'm not shitting on him, but he just hasn't fought, dude. And he's
Yeah,
40. 40 what? 2, 3?
yeah.
He and I get it. It's as in terms of a name, it's a bigger and it's only a bigger name for right now. Tom Aspinall, I think very much, which might be a crazy take. He might be a bigger name by Stipe. I think he has, more star power than Stipe might have ever had, just because of the personalities. Stipe was always, just, he's a firefighter, man. And that's why a lot of people, why I love Stipe so much. He just was what he was, he really wouldn't do, sell the
Well,
fights, but he let the performances speak for themselves.
I
But
think in the
Tom
U,
has big, big star power, man.
I think in the U.S. though, like, if you just ask like random people, way more people would know who Stipe is. Like, he's been in way more title fights and shit
Stipe
like that.
Miocic is not that much of a household name.
I'm not saying he's a big name, but I'm just saying like in the US, like to casuals, I think he has a way bigger like name value than Tom. Cause Tom, like I don't think like my dad, he doesn't watch like UFC that much, right? But like he would know who Stipe was, but I don't think he would know who Tom Aspinall is. But like I don't know. That's just because I like he's been in a lot of like pay-per-view main events and shit. But
And he's the greatest heavyweight of all time.
yeah, I mean last
Undoubtedly.
time he got KO'd by Francis, but I mean, dude, Francis looked really good in that fight too. Like, so
Francis
I
looks
mean,
so good.
it's not like you could really like. I don't think like
Felt so bad for Stipe in that
I
fight.
don't think Aspinall would be the favorite over Francis either. So it's like the last guy that
Kill Francis. Come
I mean,
on, man.
I would pick Tom to win that too. Probably. I'm just saying like if they
Tom could win that fight any way he wanted to. I mean, Francis, of course, has, the biggest puncher's chance ever, but skill for
well
skill.
Curtis is I mean not Curtis. Francis is better wrestler than Tom, but dude, you over like Tom's grappling is not that good. Like
He's a
you over Blaydes.
grappler. As much of his
He has a
striker,
black
he's
belt, but
more of a
dude, so does
grappler.
fucking Rodrigo Nascimento has a black belt. Like all these guys have fucking black belts. Like
But
it's
Tom
really.
legitimately has done jujitsu his entire life.
But I've watched him.
You
Like
don't think he's going to be good?
I watched I've watched him in grappling matches, and I've watched like him on the ground in MMA, and it's like he's not like anything special. Like that's why it's like if Curtis took him down, dude. You think he has like a chance to triangle him or something like that? Or
No, I'm telling
he's
you,
not gonna do
guillotine.
nothing, dude. He's not gonna get up either. Dude, Curtis Blaydes, if he takes him down, he's gonna maul that
So
fool.
how do you
But
submit Volkov so easily?
we just took his back in the first minute and took
It
him
was a
out.
key
I mean,
lock. It was a key lock. Arm, Kimura.
I can't remember how did that even happen? I don't know.
But I mean,
And
that's gotta show. Volkov is insanely good. I mean, he might have just shit the bed there. You never
but dude,
know.
that
But
fight, you remember that fight with Volkov and Tom, right? Like how it went down. Like Volkov got there like the day of the weigh-in, and he was having like fucking so many issues. Like he was talking about it, like because it was during like right when that Ukraine and Russia war like popped off really bad, and
mm,
like they weren't even at first they had another opponent. Like they were saying Curtis was potentially or Tom was going to potentially fight Ty Burra or like some other guy if they didn't let Volkov get out of Russia and like all this shit. So, dude, I think Volkov, that wasn't a good version of Volkov, dude. It
yeah,
was like literally the
that makes
worst
sense because
possible
he's
version.
Tom smashed him
Yeah, and I mean, and I think Volkov
like he
was probably
smashed
like,
everyone
fuck,
else.
like, dude, but think about having to fly over to like you don't even know if
Yeah,
you're
no,
gonna
it makes
fly
a lot
it
of
to the
sense
fucking
because
day of the
Tom
weigh-in.
completely annihilated him. Like it was
Yeah,
one
it's
of the
just
least competitive fights I've ever seen, man. Tom made easy work of
Joshua
him.
Proof. Yeah, I mean, but that's in boxing, dude. I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
that's a crazy
they should
comparison.
box Tom and AJ. They should you see people
That'd be a
vote.
big fight.
Dude, people act like Tom. It's like people like I don't know. Maybe I just don't like how people put him on a pedestal, dude. Like people like Bisping today. I was watching that fucking weigh-in show or whatever, and Bisping is like sitting there saying like, "Oh, you know, I think he's already like has the same legacy as Jones." It's like, what are you talking, dude? He's beating nobody, man. Like, what the fuck are you
How has he
talking
beaten
about?
nobody? That's
He's beat
crazy.
he's beat like, dude. If you could like,
Volkov,
his resume
Hadley,
is not that good, man.
bro.
Like, he still has a
He's,
lot of years like ahead of him to be able to like even put him in
of course,
fucking
John Jones
close
is
to
the
that
greatest
discussion.
fighter of all time.
He's
Bisping's
not
out of
even
his mind,
close.
dude.
Like,
That's
he was
one of the
saying like, "Oh,
stupidest
Curtis."
things I've ever heard
He said Tom would be champ for 10 straight years and retire undefeated. Or like, it's like, bro, he's not undefeated. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
in
He
the
already has
UFC,
3 losses.
undefeated.
He already lost in the UFC.
He has 3 losses, and one is from a blown ACL, and the other is from him
Yeah,
illegally elbowing.
exactly,
So
dude.
come
That's a
on.
great point, Tristan. Exactly. The first time they fought, it was a pick 'em.
Well,
And you're
look what
telling me
Tom has done since then.
he's won like 2 fights since then. It's not like it was that long ago. Look what like he beat what Tybura and Pavlovich in 2 minutes. So you're telling me those 2 minutes of fight time made him from like a -110 to a fucking -400? That's retarded. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. That's retarded. Like, so Curtis,
Are
I
we
think
sure
there's
that fight was a
progression.
pick'em?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Um,
But Aspinall is -135. So,
okay, so it was close.
dude, even versus Pavlovich, Aspinall was -115 versus Pavlovich.
Bro, Pavlovich was on a 5-fight first-round knockout streak,
But
dude.
dude,
Of
so you're
course.
saying, but you're telling me you
I
would
had
line him up.
Aspinall, I know.
You're lining him up, pick him versus Sergey, and
If
then
they fought
after
again,
he
what is
kills
Tom?
him,
If they fought again, what is Tom? 300
minus
minus
two, minus
300?
200. But all I'm saying is you're gonna, as an odds maker, you're gonna say
All right, I'll
it
agree
would be
that the
a
line
pick
is
'em
too
like
high.
six
The
months
line
ago
is
versus
too high. It
Sergey,
should be
and
in the
then he,
minus 200s. I agree. I agree, but Tom's gonna win this
yeah.
fight, dude. The
I
belt
just want
is
to see
not.
if this fight gets past the first round. I want to see what the line goes to
And
because I bet
Tom
you
wants
it'll
to
go
see it.
like to a
Tom wants to
fucking
see that
real
too,
close
dude.
line.
So Tom wants that.
He
He's
does not.
literally
I mean,
begging.
he could say that, bro. But if I, hopefully Curtis is listening to him, dude. Hopefully, literally, if I was Curtis, the first round, I would just move around the whole round because I know he has good cardio and
And
footwork.
he's
He's
gonna get
fast,
caught in a trap.
dude. Just run the whole round. Just run away the entire first round. Don't even engage at all. Like, I
That
honestly
would
that
be
would be a
crazy to
smart game
see.
plan. Like, because if Aspinall is just coming forward, he could get tired just by coming forward, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe like I'm totally wrong about Tom. Like I'm trying to remember. Someone was talking to me earlier this week, and they were telling me like Tom Aspinall reminds him of Frank Mir, and that's like to me that's a
I
great
saw that
comparison.
comment.
That's a great
That's
comparison,
they
though.
just look alike.
But it's not about
That's
how
the
they.
only.
No,
That's
but it's not
literally
about
the
that.
only comparison. They just look
No,
similar.
I'm not even talking about like their fight styles, but Frank
Clearly
Mir,
not. It's
like Frank Mir when he first came in UFC, and even after like his motorcycle accident and all that, he won the belt again, right? But he was always known as like he was like extremely talented, like one of the most talented heavyweights ever. He's probably like one of the best heavyweights on the ground of all time, right? But he just wasn't like the most invested in his training and shit, and he wasn't someone that really like optimized his career and like became as good as he could have been. And Tom is kind of like in that position right now where it's like he ran through all these guys, he got the interim title. Everyone's kind of like proclaiming him like he's going to potentially be the next best thing, potentially the best heavyweight of all time. And we're going to see it's like, is all the stuff he's talking about, like where he has that personality where he's saying, like, I don't train cardio, I go out there and I don't expect hard fights and like all this shit. Is that going to bite him in the ass where he's actually being serious? Like where it's like he's in a hard fight and then he quits or he doesn't have the ability to like kind of fight hard. I think that's a big possibility, man, because we've never seen it before. So it's just I want to see what he looks like as the nail more in his career. And I know you're saying like no one has been able to do that to him, and obviously that's a big feather in his cap. But it's like, how good is he going to be at being the nail, man? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I'm not underrating his hands. Like I get that he's way better than Frank Mir on the feet. I'm not trying to compare it in that way. I'm just saying like in terms of like you have like all the talent in the world, but maybe you're not like doing 100% to optimize it, you know. But we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm totally off with Tom Aspinall, and he will be what everyone says, and like becomes one of the best ever. But I just feel like one of these next couple fights, I really feel like now this Aspinall hype is getting way overboard, and it's like you could
How could it
cash him
not
as
be
like a
though?
big favorite. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, but I just feel like there's value on Curtis for sure. Like we'll see. And if Tom wins, I mean, more than likely he's going to look like a -1,000, right? So it's like if you take him and you bet him at -400 and he goes out there and knocks him out in the first round, you're not going to be worried about the value. So, but yeah, I just feel like if it gets extended past the first, I think Curtis is like if you're looking at that line now, like +310, if it gets into round two, even if Curtis loses the round, it'll probably be like +200 or something. So you're getting good value if you can get out of the first. So, but let's get in the main event. We spent a lot of time on that one. Bilal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. Yeah, man, I feel like this whole week there's definitely been like a good build up, but I just not bought in with the Bilal hype, man. I see a lot of people putting bets on Bilal too, like some couple people
A
I saw like
lot of
big bets on
people.
him. So, but first fight, I do like. I want to rewatch it again. I do think that Bilal, was doing a little better than you guys gave him credit for. Like he did win the clinch exchanges. Like he was able to control him a little bit. He landed a couple of elbows, but it seemed to me like Bilal. I just don't know if he's gonna be able to take him down, man. I feel like the best he could potentially do is like get those double underhooks and like push him against the fence and try to get him tired. And I'll try to do that as early as possible. Like first minute, first round, if I'm below, I'm like trying as hard as I can to get connected, clinch, try to wear on all those muscles with Leon, man, get him a little bit tired, a little bit slower, and then maybe the striking will be a little bit closer. But it's just at range. Bilal doesn't have that many weapons, man, and Leon's way faster. He's a bad style matchup for Bilal too. Like you see, Bilal historically with southpaws, he's really starting to see that left hand and the left kick, and it's like you watch it start with Alan Juban. I believe he got dropped with the head kick. He got rocked bad with the head kick against Jeff Neal, and then
And against Leon in the first
Yeah,
fight.
Leon caught him
Bad.
with the head kick too. So that's three southpaws that all have landed flush head kicks on Bilal. Um, and man, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been able to survive in all those fights and go the distance. So he's definitely a tough guy, but it's just I don't know if he's gonna have any like meaningful offense at range. And if he can't take him down and it's just him pushing him against the cage or maybe landing like a couple elbows, I just don't think it's gonna be enough to like take that decision. But I don't see a finish, man. Like I see a lot of people like that are on the Leon side. And I know you guys earlier this week were saying you thought he could maybe finish him, but I feel like Edwards by decision, has value there at plus money because I just feel like he's always going to be who he is, man. I don't see him pushing the pace and like trying to get the knockout because he's in front of his home crowd or anything like that. I just think Leon is the type of guy that he wants to maintain his cardio for 3 rounds, and I don't think he has or for 5 rounds. Excuse me. I don't think he has like that elite cardio. He has good cardio, obviously, and he can kind of coast over 5 rounds. But if you really make him fight hard, I do think he'll get tired. So I think he likes to fight at like that slow pace. But yeah, I just feel like Edwards is going to win this decision, man. I don't think that Bilal is going to get a lot of control time on the ground on top. I think maybe he'll get some clinch control, but it won't be enough to offset what Leon does on the feet, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I think an important thing to note is Leon has now had 4 championship training fights in a row for grapplers. Usman twice, Colby, and Bilal. The takedown defense has got to be so sharp. It already was. Um, just anyone betting on Bilal, I ask you just go back and watch the first fight, man, and look how Leon was slicing him up on the feet. Um, the one argument that I do think has legs is I think Leon it slows down, man, and Bilal has elite cardio. So I definitely think that's the one most valuable argument, but I can't see Leon slowing down to the point where he loses a fight. I would be shocked. Maybe Bilal, pulls out the last round, has a strong end to the fight. That's if he survives the onslaught of Leon striking on the feet. I think it's a big mismatch. Leon's a lot longer, a lot rangier. Um, Bilal looks in good shape. He always comes in pretty good shape, and the cardio is great. The toughness on Bilal is great, but I'm, you know, Leon Edwards for me is the best welterweight in the world. And Bilal Muhammad is not.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said, and but I like this bet right here, plus 5.5 spread. I definitely think that, like you
Plus
said,
one ten, yeah, he can get one round, yeah.
I think the fifth round is Bilal's round. I feel like even if he's losing the whole fight, like he'll have that pride, to want to go out there hard and win that fifth. And I think Leon will slow down and probably maybe even Bilal could win the fourth and the fifth. That's why, um, like I said, I think it's going to be really big for Bilal if he wins this fight to come out really hard in that first round, because maybe if he
And he
could
gets
steal
one,
that
four, and
first round,
five, yeah.
yeah, like if he could steal the first round somehow, like hold him against the cage or just whatever,
But that
then
doesn't do anything.
yeah.
That doesn't fact,
I
Cage.
agree. I just don't think it'll happen. But I'm just saying, like, whatever way you could do to like try to win that one of those first three early rounds or like the first round, I think that'll like raise his chances to win a lot, because I do
Hope
think the
this is
fourth
the
and the fifth
greatest fight
round,
ever. I hope this is such a war for all the hate these guys have gotten as born. I hope it's
yeah.
just like fight of the year. Like it's just
I
a
mean, dude,
slugfest. It's not gonna
but
happen.
I
They're
feel
just
like
too.
the hate, yeah, the hate that they
It's
got, it's
warranted,
like,
yeah. I mean, especially Bilal. I
yeah,
mean,
it's been
Leon for me
warranted
though
for the past
is
week, dude.
almost just as boring. Like his last fight against Kobe sucked. That was not a
Yeah,
good fight. Like it was, but that's what Leon does. He shuts you down, and I think he's gonna shut Bilal down, dude. I really, outside of Bilal getting takedowns, chaining because almost every first takedown is gonna get stuffed by Leon. Bilal's gonna have to shoot and reshoot and scramble, and get in deep. But Leon, I think, is a lot stronger, man. If I'm being honest, and a lot of times tall, lanky guys are the hardest to take down because of their leverage. I mean, short guys too, it all depends. But Leon's so good in the clinch, dude. Like he's such a nasty fighter from the clinch. And that's where Bilal's going to need to have the fight. And I think Leon's going to do elbows, knees, punches on the break from the clinch. Leon loves fighting in the clinch. So it's tough. I mean, Bilal's going to have to eat him alive with pressure, have him against the fence, but Leon's going to come forward.
yeah. What do you think about that? And what's up, Pepe, man? But you think Shavkat?
Shot.
You think he beat both
I
these
think
guys?
I think I think I have said that. Yeah, I kind of just forgot Shavkat. I think Shavkat would beat Leon. Shavkat versus Combs, that's my literal like dream fight. I
Yeah,
think that's such a
I
sick
agree with
fight.
I agree with that too, Pepe. It's like I just feel like Bilal, he might be able to like get double underhooks or push him against the cage, but Leon's just going to be too physical. He's going to get out of there, and he's not going to let him take him down and just do more damage. I mean, Bilal though, I do like anytime you got like a big underdog, man. Confidence is like a big thing, and Bilal is like extremely confident for whatever reason. So it's like that could play a factor, but I just feel like Leon is better than him everywhere. But I kind of think this might be Leon's last title defense. Honestly, I mean, I guess it depends who they give him next. But
I mean, he's
yeah,
gonna beat
man.
Ian Gary. I think
If you
you would take Ian.
say that
I mean,
again.
yes, I would take him over pretty much. The Jack Atlantas. I think he beats. Or Gary. I think Shavkat's really the only guy who would beat him.
Well, I don't think Ian Gary would get a title shot off that last fight, dude. That shit was like horrible fight. But and even Dana White was shitting on that fight. He was like, it was a draw. No one did anything. He said like some shit like that. So I was like, I mean, few backs bet Curtis. I mean, if any bet loses, dude, I feel like people feel shitty. But I don't think it's like I don't know. I just like the value
Don't max bet. I
proposition.
mean, if
Like,
if you want to, sprinkle on Curtis on it, but max betting Curtis Blaydes would be great. It's
well, it's
nonsensical
just crazy value, man. The value is crazy, dude. Like, it's like
because
when
look
you
at the
if
guy
Curtis
he's
Blades.
fighting.
But let's say if Curtis wins this fight as like the as plus 310, right?
Yeah, it'll be
When
great.
would
I
you
mean,
when would you ever get Curtis at that line ever again? Like you'd never get that
literally
line.
in his next fight, what is he against John Jones?
Fuck no, he wouldn't be like I don't think he would be that big of an underdog versus Jones, dude.
He'd be
Especially with all that narratives like that people say, like where they're like Tom Aspinall is the fucking future and all that. If he goes out there and beats Tom, people are gonna be like all on fucking Curtis, you know. So I think it'd be like a pick 'em, dude. Him versus fucking Cyril Gahn was a pick 'em. Jones versus Cyril. So I mean, unless Jones just goes out there and like looks, even if he looks incredible versus Stipe, I still think they would line it like fairly close. I mean, maybe Jones would be like minus 200, you know. But I just think like you'll never get Blaydes at that type of price again against anybody. But like even when Blaydes is fighting like Francis, I think he was the favorite both times. Like think about that, you know. But yeah, man. Thanks everyone for watching. The chat was good today, man. We had good comments, so I really appreciate everyone that was talking in the chat. And if you missed some of the breakdowns, just go back, watch them. We gave pretty much our betting advice on all these fights. So yeah, man. Fitz, if you want to shout out what you're doing on TikTok, Instagram, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, Fitzmagic MMA. If I post anything on TikTok, can talk to me on Instagram, MikeFitz51. Just enjoy the fights, guys. Don't go bet more than your means. Don't let a bad night of betting ruin an awesome night of fights. Be responsible and let's make some money. Keep it simple. Edwards, Aspinall, and Allen. 3 legs plus money, free, dude. It's free money.
Yeah, man.
All
We'll
of them
see.
are gonna dominate.
We'll see. It's definitely going to be a good night, man. I'm excited for the fight card. I think that there's a lot of really good fights on there. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We're going to be back on Monday. We're going to be doing another one of these streams. And yeah, man, thanks for sticking to the channel. Hit the like button, and we'll talk to you guys later.